Most people spend their whole life listening. Listening to teachers, listening to parents, listening to friends, coworkers, bosses, strangers, even critics. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you listened to you? I don't mean your fear. I don't mean your doubt. I mean that inner voice, the one buried beneath all the noise. The voice that says, you're better than this. You've got more inside. You were made for something great. But here's the challenge. That voice, it doesn't shout. It whispers. And if your life is too loud, too busy, too distracted, you'll miss it. You see, I learned something early on. Everything begins with awareness. But awareness begins with silence. You've got to tune out the world so you can tune into yourself. Because that's where the answers are. Not out there, here. You already know what to do. You already know what you're capable of. You already know what you should be chasing. But you've got to slow down. You've got to get quiet. You've got to listen. And when you do, you'll realize something powerful. You've had the answers all along. You just weren't listening. So in this video, we're going to talk about what it means to trust yourself, to follow that inner voice, to stop living by default and start living by design. Because if you don't learn to listen to yourself first, you'll spend your life listening to the wrong people. And trust Meg, that's a price too high to pay. Let me tell you something I've learned. If you don't listen to you, someone else will gladly take your place. Someone else will tell you what to do, what to think, what to believe. And if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day living their life, not yours. You've got to stand guard at the door of your mind. Why? Because your mind is precious. It's where your future is built. It's where your vision is formed. And it's where your dreams take shape or fall apart. Now, there's a voice inside every one of us. It's quiet. It's subtle. But it's there. And if you learn to listen to it, it'll lead you toward purpose, toward broad peace. But if you ignore it, you'll drift. You'll wander. And worst of all, you'll settle. I remember when I was just getting started. I was broke. I was frustrated. I was 25 years old with pennies in my pocket and nothing in the bank. I had the desire, but no direction. I listened to the news. I listened to friends who had no ambition. I listened to people who gave up on their dreams years ago. And you know what that got me? More confusion, more doubt, more delay. But thing I got quiet. I shut the world out for a little while. I started reading good books. I started journaling my thoughts. And slowly I started to hear something I hadn't heard in years. Me, that small voice, that whisper that says, you can do better. You're made for more. Now let me give you something to remember. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And becoming that person. It starts with listening. Listening to your values, your convictions, your hopes, not your fears. Not every voice deserves your attention. Some people speak from pain, some from bitterness, some from jealousy. But the voice inside you, if you give it a chance, speaks from truth. Let me ask you, when was the last time you sat down with yourself, not to criticize, not to complain, but to listen? To ask you, who am I? What do I want? What's really important to me? These aren't easy questions, but they're necessary. They're the beginning of transformation. If you only listen to the world, the crowd, the culture, you'll blend in. But if you listen to yourself first, you'll begin to stand out. You'll start walking your own path. You'll stop comparing. And you'll finally start creating. I want to give you a challenge. Take 10 minutes today. No phone, no noise, just you, a pen, and a piece of paper. And listen. What's rising up in you? What have you been ignoring? What truth are you ready to face? Write it down. Think it through. And follow it. Even if it's just one small step. Because here's the true thing, that voice inside you is not random. It's not noise. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. And if you'll start honoring it, listening to it, trusting it, you'll begin to build a life that's authentic, aligned, and alive. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. And don't wait for someone else to validate your dream. The voice within is already speaking. The question is, are you listening? Don't just get through the day. Get from the day. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Now let's talk about something important. Why is it that even when we know we should listen to ourselves, we still don't? Why do most people ignore that small wise voice within? I'll tell you why. Because it's easier not to. That voice, it tells you the truth, and the truth is rarely convenient. It says, you're not giving your best. You're wasting time. You've been afraid too long. That's not always what we want to hear. But it's exactly what we need to hear. Most people turn up the noise in their life so they don't have to hear the truth inside. They stay busy. Busy scrolling. Busy working. Busy entertaining themselves to death. But listing business is not the same as progress. Noise is not the same as clarity. And comfort is not the same as purpose. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. You see, listening to your inner voice takes discipline. It takes courage. It takes reflection. And sadly, most people would rather avoid that. Why? Because when you stop and listen, you start to realize how far you've drifted, how much time you've wasted, how many dreams you've shelved, how long you've ignored that calling. And that hurts. So instead, they run from silence. They run from solitude. They run from themselves. But let me tell you something, you can only run so long. Eventually, you'll have to sit with your own life. And when you'll wish you had listened sooner. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. Ignoring the voice within leads to regret. Not instantly, but gradually. And regret, that's a heavy burden to carry. So many people say things like, I wish I would have started earlier. I wish I had believed in myself. I knew deep down I could have done more. The signs were there. The voice was there. But they ignored it. Sometimes people ignore the voice because of fear. Fear of what others will think. Fear of failing. Fear of being alone on the journey. Ignoring yourself to please still leads to the same pain. The pain of not being you. That's why I always say, make sure what you do is the product of your own conclusion, and not someone else's opinion, not society's script, not your old programming, your own conclusion. It's your life, and you only get one. Don't trade it for acceptance. Don't trade it for comfort. And please, don't trade it for fear. You've got something inside, a seed of greatness. But it won't grow unless you start honoring your own voice. Take inventory of your influences. Who are you listening to? What are you consuming daily? What's shaping your mind? And most importantly, when was the last time you created silence long enough to hear yourself again? Because that voice is still there, still whispering, still waiting. And the moment you choose to listen is the moment your life begins to change. The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. You must trust yourself enough to act on your ideas, your values, your voice. Let's pause here and get to the heart of the matter. You say you want to follow your own voice. You say you want to live life on your terms. You want clarity, direction, conviction. I believe you. But there's something in the way. Something subtly but powerful. You don't trust yourself. And that, my friend, is where the real work begins. We can talk all day about motivation. We can talk about strategy, goals, time management. But none of that matters if deep down you don't believe you're capable. You don't trust your judgment. You don't trust your choices. You don't trust your ability to figure it out. And let me tell you something, you can't follow yourself if you don't trust yourself. Because when the road gets tough, and it will, you'll second guess. You'll hesitate, you'll look around for someone else to lead you. If someone is going down the wrong road, he doesn't need motivation to speed him up. He needs education to turn him around. Sometimes, the education we need is not about books or seminars. It's not about experts or coaches. Sometimes, It's about going inside and asking the honest question, why don't I trust myself? Let's explore that. For many, the lack of trust comes from the past. Mistakes, failures, poor decisions, moments when you let yourself down. And you carry those memories like weight in a backpack. Every time you try to move forward, the weight pulls you back. But listen closely. Your past does not define your capacity. Your past is a place of reference, not residence. Yes, you've made mistakes. So have I. So has everyone who ever built a meaningful life. Mistakes are not reasons to give up on yourself. They are reasons to grow. Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't fail overnight. Instead, failure is a few errors in judgment, repeated every day, and success. Success is a few simple disciplines repeated every day. So how do you start building trust with yourself again? The same way you would with someone else, by keeping promises. Lily ones. Daily ones. Say you're going to wake up at 6. Wake up at 6. Say you'll go for a walk. Go for a walk. Say you'll read 10 pages. Read 10 pages. It's not about the scale of the action. It's about the consistency of the action. Each small victory is a brick in the foundation of self-trust. Motivation alone is not enough. If you have an idiot and you motivate him, now you have a motivated idiot. But here's what it means in this context. Don't just pump yourself up with big dreams. Build the character to carry them. And character comes from trust, from doing the work, from being honest when it's hard, from showing up when no one is watching. That's how you become someone you can follow. Let me tell you a story. A man once said to me, Jim, I keep starting and stopping. I make plans, I get excited, then I quit. What's wrong with me? I told him, nothing's wrong with you. You just don't trust yourself to follow through. And that's because you've made too many promises to yourself and then broke them. He paused. Then I said, it's time to rebuild your reputation with yourself. And that's what he did. He didn't start with big things. He started with small disciplines and earned his own respect back. Don't join an easy crowd, you won't grow. Go where the expectations and the demands to perform are high. Apply that inwardly. Raise the expectations you have for yourself. Not to be perfect, but to be reliable. Because here's the truth, the most powerful version of you is not the one with all the answers. It's the one who believes they'll find the answers. It's the one who's not afraid to try, to fail, to learn, to rise again. That kind of person, that person can go far. But it all starts with trust. So, if you've been hesitating, if you've been drifting, if you've been waiting for someone to tell you it's okay, let this be it. You can trust yourself. You must trust yourself, because if you don't, you'll always need someone else to lead your life. And no one else has to live with the consequences but you. So build the trust. Earn it. Protect it. And once you've got it, follow your voice with strength, with discipline, with purpose. Because there's no better guide for your life than the one that lives inside you. The major key to your better future is you. It's not what happens that determines your future. It's what you do about what happens. Fear is a question. What are you afraid of and why? Sometimes the answer shows you what you must do. Let me tell you, my friend, there are two voices that often speak at the same time inside us. One says, be careful. This isn't safe. The other says, step forward. This is where you grow. And now here's the challenge. They sound the same. And if you don't learn to discern between them, between fear and wisdom, you'll spend your life standing still. You've heard me say it before. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. But fear stops action. Fear freezes you. Fear talks you out of your best ideas. And yet, not all fear is bad. Let's pause here for a moment. Fear has a purpose. Fear can protect you. Fear can warn you of real danger. But fear can also lie. It can exaggerate. It can imagine things that aren't even there. It can turn shadows into monsters. So here's the real skill, knowing when fear is your friend and when it's your prison. Let me give you an example. A young man once came up to me after a seminar. He said, "Jim, I want to quit my job and start my own business. But I'm afraid," I said. "Good. You should be afraid." He looked confused. I smiled and continued. "You should be afraid of staying at a job you hate for 40 years. You should be afraid of waking up one day and realizing you never tried. You should be afraid of regret." He nodded slowly. Then I said, "No, are you afraid because it's risky? Or are you afraid because you haven't prepared?" He paused, then said, "A, I haven't prepared." I told him, "Then your fear is wisdom. It's telling you something's missing, so go get it. Get the skills. Get the plan. Then take the leap." That, my friend, is how you discern. If you don't risk anything, you risk even more. You see, fear if I fail. Wisdom asks, what do I need to learn before I start? Fear says, don't try. Wisdom says, try wisely. One holds you back. The other holds you up. And the only way to tell the difference is to be honest with yourself. Let me tell you how you know it's fear, not wisdom. Talking, it speaks in extremes. All or nothing. Catastrophe, disaster. That's fear. It doesn't want you to check the facts. Fear doesn't like data. It thrives in the fog. It makes you feel small. Wisdom might humble you, but fear shrinks you. It wants to delay, not decide, not act, just delay. Wait. Postpone. But let me warn you, indecision is the thief of opportunity. So what do? How do you separate the two? Here's what I've learned. You take time for quiet. You listen longer. You write. You reflect. You ask yourself deeper questions. You don't just ask, what am I afraid of? You ask, what would I do if I trusted myself a little more? That question, that one opens doors. Let's go deeper still. Sometimes fear and wisdom both show up. Let's say you're offered a promotion. More money, more prestige, but also more pressure. Fear says, you'll fail. Wisdom says, learn the skills first. And now you're caught in between. What you do? Prepare. You get ready. You don't say no out of fear. You don't say yes out of ego. You decide based on truth. And that's the secret. When you hear both voices, ask yourself, which one leads me to grow with responsibility? And which one just wants to keep me safe? Follow the one that helps you expand wisely. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And one of the most valuable disciplines, emotional discipline, disciplining your fear, disciplining your doubt, disciplining your thoughts until you can see clearly. And clarity is power. You'll never eliminate fear completely, but you don't have to. You just have to lead it. Let fear ride in the car, but don't give it the wheel. Let wisdom navigate the journey. Because when you learn to tell the difference between fear and wisdom, you make better decisions. You walk stronger. You live bolder. And most importantly, you follow yourself with courage. Everything you need for your better future and success has already been written. And guess what? It's already inside you. We've talked about the voice within, why people ignore it, how to trust it, how to discern fear from wisdom. But now comes the moment of truth. Let's get practical. Let's get real. Let's get honest with ourselves. Because the final step in this journey is the one that separates those who dream from those who do. It's the step that separates the inspired from the transformed. And it is this: don't just listen to yourself. Take action. Now, listening is noble. Reflecting is wise. Planning is necessary. But none of that means anything unless you follow through. Let me ask you, how many dreams have you let sit on a shelf? How many ideas have you scribbled down and never acted on? How many times have you told yourself, I should, I will, I need to, but you never did? Let me tell you something my mentor told me when I was broke, skinny, and full of excuses. Don't wait until the conditions are perfect. They never will be. Start now with what you have. Here's what I've learning. The more you delay action, the more you delay growth. Because knowledge without application is nothing. Belief without action is fantasy. Desire without discipline is just daydreaming. You may have listened to your inner voice, You may have taken time to reflect, but if you don't act, you'll never see what's possible. Let's go a little deeper. Why don't we act? Fear, doubt, uncertainty, lack of confidence. Yes, all of the above. But the real reason, most people are stuck in what I call mental rehearsals. They rehearse over and over in their minds. They imagine success. They imagine what they'll do. They feel the emotion of changing, but they don't move. And if you rehearse too long without taking the stage, you'll forget the lines. The opportunity fades. The passion cools. The confidence weakens. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. So let me offer this. Act while the emotion is high. When inspiration strikes, move. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for someone to approve. Don't wait until you're ready, because you'll never feel ready. You have to start before you're ready. That's the secret. Let me tell you a little story. I once spoke with a young man after a seminar. Bright kid, full of ambition. He said, "Jim, I've got a vision. I want to start a business. I feel called to do it." I said, "That's wonderful. When are you going to start?" He looked down and said, "Well, I'm still getting everything in place. Preparing." So I asked, "How long have you been preparing?" He said, 3 years. I smiled. I said, "That's not preparation. Young man, that's procrastination dressed up in a tuxedo." He laughed. I didn't. Because it's a serious thing. Your calling doesn't last forever. Your window of opportunity has an expiration date. And here's the true thing: indecision is the thief of opportunity. Take action. The time is now. Even if you start small, start. You don't have to write the whole book today, but you can write the first page. You don't have to build the empire today, but you can make the first phone call. You don't have to change your whole life overnight, but you can take one bold, clear step in the direction of your best self, because every journey begins the same way, with the courage to begin. Now, let me give you a few practical keys. C1, make a decision, not tomorrow. Now, what is one thing your inner voice has been telling you to do? Stop debating. Decide. Indecision is the greatest thief of opportunity. 2, break it down. You don't need a 12-step plan. Just find the first step. Too many people get overwhelmed trying to plan step 100 before they take step 1. Don't worry about step 100. Just do step 1 today. 3, but create a sense of urgency. Set a deadline. Tell someone. Write it down. Put pressure on yourself. Good pressure. Remember, diamonds form under pressure. 4, take imperfect action. Perfection is a liar. You'll never have all the answers. Start messy. Start awkward. Start with fear in your stomach and fire in your soul. But start. And finally, 5, stay consistent. It's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do daily. Small disciplines practiced over time lead to big results. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. So I'll close with this. You've listened to yourself. Good. Now prove to yourself that you're worth listening to. Move. Build momentum. Turn that whisper into a roar. And remember, the ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. Your life is waiting on you, not the other way around. So don't wait. Act now, because your future is built in the present. One bold, courageous step at a time.